Okay, this lesson is going to be the beginning to rationals for us. And first, we want to start with simplifying rationals, and then we're going to jump into add, subtract, multiply, and dividing rationals and solving rational equations. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is break down 24 over 30. So if I break down 24, that is going to be 6 times 4. If I break down 6, that's 2 times 3. And 4 is 2 times 2. So I broke it down to the factors. So this is why we get 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And if I break down 30, 30 is 2 times 15. And 15 is 3 times 5. So I broke it down to its factors and got 2 times 3 times 5. Once you break down your rational function, again, a rational function is just a fraction. Once I break it down, I can divide out what is alike. So right here we have 2 over 2. Those divide out. And we have 3 and 3. Those divide out. And then after you divide out what is alike, whatever you have left becomes your answer. So we at the top we have 2 over 2 and we have 5 at the bottom. 2 times 2 gives you 4, and then you have your 5 at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so 4 over 5 is the equivalent to 24 over 30. Now, the same thing for if we have it in with polynomials. We do the same by factoring, and then we break down to and divide out what we have that is alike. So for example, this one is x squared minus x minus 6. And at the bottom we have x squared minus 4. Now, x squared minus 4 was already factored for us in the bottom. We have x plus 2, x minus 2 for x squared minus 4. But we have to factor x squared minus x minus 6. So when I factor that, I want to find factors of negative 6 that when I add them, it gives me negative 1. Because we got to remember that it's a 1 in front of that x. So factors of negative 6 that when I add them give me negative 1 is negative 3 and positive 2. So my factors become x plus 2, x minus 3. So here I get x, I rewrite x plus 2, x minus 3 divided by x plus 2 over x minus 2. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to divide out what is alike. The only thing that I have alike is x plus 2, x plus 2. And then my equivalent expression is x minus 3 over x minus 2. Okay? So the next one, same pace. Now, without factoring, let's say this was a multiple choice question, and without factoring, we wanted to see what is equivalent. We do the exact same thing that we will always do. Is like we can put it in decimals, and we're gonna see which one overlaps our graph. So for C, if I place this in decimals, my function was x squared plus 8x plus 15 over x squared plus 9x plus 18. Now, this is what the graph looks like. And at the bottom, we already had what the equivalent expression was because it gave us the answer. It was x plus 5 over x plus 6. So if I plug in x plus 5 over x plus 6, hold on, x squared plus 8x plus 15. Oh, I put 95, y'all. My mistake. X squared plus 9x. There we go. 9x plus 18. And then I do x plus 5 over x plus 6. These are my equivalent expressions. Because this is the red graph, and then now the blue graph completely overlaps it. This makes it equivalent. Okay, now don't make the mistake like I did in the beginning and type something different, because then you'll be like, oh, that's not the right answer. But make sure you check what you're typing, because like I said, I make mistakes too, where I had 95 right here at first because I made a mistake and typed 95 instead of x. It wouldn't give it an equivalent expression. But when I changed my changed my equation because of my mistake, it gave me the correct answer. So make sure you're watching what you're typing. All right, so if I still want to factor this, I'm going to show you how to factor it so you can divide out. We're going to factor out x squared plus 8x plus 15, and that is same way. You're going to figure out which factors of 15 that when you add them together give you 8. So we know 15 is 3 times 5, and when I add 3 and 5, I get 8. So I'm going to get x plus 3, x plus 5 at the top. Over, and then the same thing, what factors of 18, when I add them, are going to give me 9. And so factors of 18 are 6 and 3. That give me 9. So then at the bottom, I get x plus 3, x plus 6. So then I know that the x plus 3's factor out, and this is where I get my equivalent expression, x plus 5 over x plus 6. Okay, so that's the simplifying of rationals by dividing out the common factors. Okay. All right, so you had two methods. You can use the factoring method, or if you wanted to use your Desmos, you can type in your given equation and then type in your answer choices if they're there to see if they divide out. Or if you did it on your own, type in your question and then type in your answer you got to see if it overlaps. If it overlaps, then you are correct. Okay? All right, so the next portion is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So we're going to use the sheet that you were provided to do that part of the lesson for add, subtract, multiply, and divide. All right, so we're going to start with question number 1. And we're going to use our Desmos for this. So make sure you have your Desmos calculator up, because some of these I'm going to pause and let you get the answers on your own. All right, so for the first one, and we're looking at the unit 5. All right, unit 5, rationals. It says which fraction is equivalent to y squared plus 5y plus 4 over y squared plus 19y plus 18 in simplest form. Remember, equal and equivalent mean the same thing. That means congruent, the same. Okay, so in Desmos, do not type the y's. You're going to type the x's. So I'm going to type in my division sign first, and then x squared plus 5x plus 4 over x squared plus 19x plus 18. Okay, so once you have your graph in the in there, you're going to look at your answer choices and you're going to see which one is an equivalent expression. Now, use your common sense. Okay, so for A is 9 over 37. If I type in y equals 9 over 37, that's not going to give me that, because that's going to be a number. It's just going to draw a straight line at that number. My graph is not a straight line, so I know that's not going to be my answer. So I wouldn't use that one. Okay. So then I'm going to go down to the ones that have the variables in it that my graph has, just to see if one of those will be my answer. So let's look at C. I'm going to type in, again, we're not using Y, we're going to type in X. X plus 4 over X plus 18. And the answer is C, because it completely overlaps. It completely overlaps my graph. So if I look at my graph, I can see that it's completely overlapped from the beginning. Okay, because the black overshadowed the green. Okay, so this was the green, that was my black. Okay, so the answer to that is C, X plus 4 over X plus 18. Okay, so then look at number 2. Number 2 said, what is 2x squared minus 18 over 2x squared plus 18 in lowest terms? Same thing, when it's reduced to lowest terms, we want to see what it's going to be, what's the equivalent to that. So we're going to type in 2x squared minus 18 over 2x squared plus 18. And now we're going to go through our answer choices to see which one is equivalent. So I'm going to give you a second to type in your answer choices and see which one is equivalent. All right, so if you type it in, you're going to get X minus 3, and then X plus 3 over X squared plus 9. And I need to fix up here at the top because I put the 0 and not the parentheses. So now when I fixed it, I get the equivalent. So my answer choice should have been D. Okay? All right. Let's look at number 3. And then the rest of these, you should be, number 3, and then the rest of these, you should be able to do. Number 3 says, what value must be substituted for K so that X plus 4 over X squared plus 7X plus K can be reduced to 1 over X plus 3. So your first step is to go ahead and type in each individual portion. So X plus 4 over X squared plus 7X plus K. And then we're going to go ahead and let that slider add down. So click it so it'll add down. And then you're going to type in 1 over X plus 3 because this is what we want it to reduce to. So what you'll do with that slider is you're going to type in every answer choice until your graphs overlap. Okay, so K is 3 for A. As we see, the green and black are not overlapping, so 3 is not my answer. B was 4. We type in 4. Same thing. It didn't overlap, so that's not my answer. And then if we type in 12, which is C, now they completely overlap. There's no more green and black. We just have one complete graph, which is the black. And then if we move the graph around, we can see that it's nothing, no more green showing anywhere, so it completely overlapped. So 12 is your answer, so the answer should be C, okay? But just to show you, if you just wanted to see, if I type in 28, we see right here, it looked like it overlapped, but you still have that little green speck right here that is showing, so the graph is not completely overlapped, okay? All right. So for number 4, I want you to try to do number 4. And what do you get for number 4? You should have gotten B for number 4. Okay, B for number 4. Number 5 says solve 5 over 2x minus 2, and that's going to equal 15 over x squared minus 1. Now, anytime we have an equation, okay, anytime we have an equation that has an equal sign in the middle and we want to solve it, and it says solve, we take that equation and we divide it in half, and in decimals we do y equals this line and y equals that line. But in this case, I didn't put y equals because it's they're a complete equation. But make sure you use y equals if it's just a number. Okay, so for example, number 6, you'll do the same thing. Okay, so once we do this one for number 5, we want to look at and see what our answer will be. Okay, and we're looking for where the graph intersects. Okay, where the graph intersects. More than likely, if you click inside of the box, it will pop up your gray dot where it intersects, and the graph intersects at this point right here. So your x value is 5. The answer is B. Okay. All right. Try number 6. And for number 6, you should have gotten D. Number 7. Number 7, you should have gotten A. Number 8. Number 8, you should have gotten D. Number 9. Number 9, you should have gotten A. 10. 10, you should have gotten A. 11, you're dividing. So for 11, you're dividing those. And for 11, you should have gotten D. Number 12, C. And then 13, x equals 8. All right.